New Civ income, and that's right, modders have gone the extra mile. This is not a Delhi mirror. You do not need to click off this recording. Don't freak out. This is Persia. Welcome to our Dragavan Gully Deckle show match to show off not only a new Civ, but also a new map. That new map is to come later in the series. For now, we open up on Dry Arabia, Dragavan in the north and the green, Gully Deckle playing as the purple in the south. And this may look like Delhi, it may say it on the UI, but this is a very different Civ. I've turned off my usual chat capture part for this reason, so you guys can see everything. You already see differences. What is the Saafid Dynasty? These are tech unlocks that come later in the game. Emergency tax, which comes in Imperial Age. Yes, you're reading that correctly. You can have your villages function a little bit like the monks, the Buddhists from the Japanese to generate gold. But there's a lot more going on than that. Early on, we already have a big difference here. The spearmen. These spearmen, this is a Zamindar. They're weaker than standard spearmen, but notice something different about their UI. They build. They can build anything. This is kind of wild. So weaker spearman that actually has building capabilities. I was wondering if someone's going to try to outpost rush, but it hasn't begun like that. This is a play or 5 show match we've arranged between these two talented players. You've probably seen them around the channel. Dragavan, Gully Deckle, both easily top 200 players, and both very young. I believe they're both now 16 years of age. They've got a promising future ahead of them. And shout out to them for being willing to just dive into a new Civ. They even actually went ahead and done some practice games against each other ahead of time. But you're going to see some unique things coming out as this game goes on, like unit conscription buildings. There's a lot of unique choices that this Civ has. They have men-at-arms, which have an attack speed charge, a little bit like what you'd see out of Lancers, right? So they have high damage on their charging ability. They have got access to what is essentially a Zutsu on Camelback. They have long-deploying siege weapons, which pack quite the wallop when they come out. And they also have custom landmarks, and you're about to see one of them. The Rudon Castle's coming in. What is this, you might ask? Oh, dude, I love it. They're doing different builds. So the Rudon Castle is a feudal age TC landmark. You heard that correctly, but calm down. Check that detail. A TC landmark sounds OP in feudal age, but this one's interestingly balanced. Villages cost 3 times more to produce out of this. That's quite expensive. You might be wondering, what's a TC, KP? Why would anyone go for the other? The Gunduz Hapur has some interesting text in this, right, for the Persians. Did I say it was Persian at the start? I probably should. I've been saying Persian all day. This is Persian. This is a variant Civ of the Delhi, the Persians. But this is really cool. Gunduz Hapur, the way this works is you can basically choose an eco path or a military path, and you get unique techs. And some of them are really powerful. So remember the old fresh few stuff, like a 50% discount? You can get that in here. You can also decrease the cost of farms. Or you can go the military route, where you can make archers 20 wood cheaper, as a perfect example. There's 3 tech choices in each wing. We'll be seeing them shortly. But I love the fact that we're just already getting a very different approach. And I expect this. This Civ, this is pretty much the first exposure it's getting to like high-level pro players, right? So it's going to take some tweaking. It's going to take some practice. But I'm hoping what we can do with this is we can broadcast this to the devs and say, look, I don't know what you're looking at next. Variant Civs seem to be pretty popular. Have you considered moi? I love the deer shoving as well. Gully went for it. Interestingly enough, Dragavan didn't. But notice what he's doing instead. Like, I think this is a bit of a mistake by Gully. He invested 4 villages to build up, right? He did not use the spearmen. If he used the spearmen, he could have had extra gathering. So Dragavan's economy is going to be a bit better, but he needs that due to the fact that he's going to be spending 150 food per villager. Yeah. Don't get this confused, guys. This is a TC. It's basically the King's Power stats. It looks like a feudal Berkshire, I agree. It looks like a very small Berkshire, actually. It's so tiny. But yes, look, it doesn't even have any arrow fire by default. You have to garrison people. So here you go. Villagers cost 150 food. It can get cannons down the line, which is kind of crazy. Other side, check these texts. New diet immediately coming in. The new diet is you don't get to eat. So this is fresh foodstuffs, old fresh foodstuffs. Villagers are about to cost 25 food. On top of that, you can also get your hands on this, the ability to sell food for gold on your farms. You can also decrease the cost of farms. The alternative route is if he went the military, he could have done this. New bow making would have decreased the cost of your archers by 20 wood. That's important for archer spam because these archers are more expensive. They are longbow range archers with standard archer damage. On top of that, I especially love this. The Dalim Force, I'm gutted we're not going to get to see them. The Dalims are really cool. They are men-at-arms that have a charge attack. So the charge attack is about 3 times higher than the standard melee attack. It's pretty cool. And then finally, you could have got the Shark Shamshir, which basically leans into the idea of playing men-at-arms. It's It's basically Oda tactics for Persian men-at-arms. So, opening-wise, Dragavan has opted for the Persian horse archers. Already getting interesting, right? Look at the different units we have. In Castle Age, you get access to the Kizel Bash, which I love the name, Kizel Bash. It's basically your gunpowder unit. It's pretty much a Danny. But the Persian horse archers are an interesting one, actually, guys. They have an ability called Arrow Volley. You have to buy it. But if you buy it, you decrease your attack speed from 3 seconds for attack, rather, down to 1.5 seconds. It's a pretty cool unit. 1.69 movement speed. This is basically what Magadai could have looked like if they were good. Other side, this second TC coming in. I expected this out of Gully. I was saying, actually, if you want to go 2 TC, I kind of rate the Gundispar higher than going for the Rudon. The Rudon Castle, I think, is just like not worth it in the grand scheme of things. But as long as you can get away with the opening, the Gundispar just feels a lot better, right? Especially with the follow-up plays and the cheaper farms. Movement in from the Persian Horse Archer. Gully! Oh no, he didn't get Wheelbarrow. This TC may have been a bit loose. Well, you've got to commit now. The problem is the more villages you pull away, the worse this gets. The second is going to show up. And we have a problem here. Because now Gully has to go for an incredibly defensive TC. The upside, at least, once he gets his hands on Agriculture Academy, farms will be fairly cheap. The downside is, well, basically everything else, because you're in a mirror. Oh, this is brutal. If you're thinking that these archers look a bit OP, they might need a little bit of tweaking. They are 80 food and 60 wood. I think that might be slightly too good, but to get it to be decent, you have to spend an extra 30 gold, right? So the real cost of this unit to make it decent ends up being 170 resources. So it's kind of in line with a Camel Archer, but it's not really that impressive compared to a Camel Archer. It's 65 health with 12 damage. So it may seem a little bit busted at first, but I don't think it's too bad. It kind of feels like close to where Magadai could have been. And yes, they do move and shoot. That's the tricky part that I think might lead to them having a nerf to their movement speed here. Gully getting the bad news. And look at this. After being blocked on your TC, he has to go for the archers anyway. So I think he's starting to wish he'd gone for new bow making method, because these guys are expensive. Zamindars cost 100 resources. This is their archer. But they cost 100 resources for a good reason. They have 5 more health than standard archers, but look at the range. They have 7 tower range. So this is a longbow with lower base damage. I think this might need a slight buff. I think it already, like, it had to be nerfed because originally this bow-making tech took 40 off. It might have to be 30 wood off. We'll see if he's able to defend this. Dive comes in. An ambitious one, Dragavan. That's an expensive loss. And he upgraded, right? Yeah, he's been taking the attack speed techs. So this is insanely expensive. Wow. And just like that, so he upgraded all of them. So that ends up being 170 resources times 3. That's a ludicrous loss. And although Dragavan is ahead, remember, he's spending a lot to get ahead with the Rudon Castle. It's hard to sustain this. He's already going into farms. Gully could theoretically go free TC and feel a lot better off because he basically has better fresh foodstuffs. He's paying 25 food here. On the other side in this mirror, Dragavan is spending 125 out of one of these. Sorry, that's not right. 150. You know how it works, guys. If you don't switch to the other person, it inherits the UI elements. So that's a lofty difference, right? Like every 20 seconds, you're spending 200 food here. Every 20 seconds, you're spending 50 food here. What are the stats of the castle? They're pretty reasonable, actually. 2.5k HP. It's pretty much a King's Palace. And it doesn't have auto arrow fire. You have to garrison villages inside. You can only get 8. The villages are so expensive because this is a feudal age landmark. It is a TC, it's balanced that way. The other upside you get from this landmark, by the way, is it reduces the cost of outposts down to 50 from 100. Gully's looking pretty good in this game. I mean, Dragavan, he's trying to get out of this by going castle, right? That's going to be tricky. I mean, you can't really play Kizel Bash here. The range difference will get you killed. Outpost coming up. And we're seeing the Zamindar work. This is what I was talking about. This is really cool. So the spearmen are weaker than standard spears, but this is their upside. They can build like this. And they cost less, by the way. So it's kind of reasonable. The negative of like the starting point of the Persians here is you start with 5 villages and one of these Zamindars. So if you want to do something other than build, if you want to gather, you are a little bit weaker for that. But I love the interesting mechanic. And a 65 resource spearman is kind of intriguing, right? I wonder if you can make the production time lower, because most civs have 15 seconds, right? So considering it's a weaker, it reminds you like Yuumi, because Yuumi have a lower production speed as well as cost. So interesting that someone's bringing up the idea of Spim Tower Rush. Hosen tested this in diamond level lobbies, and Tower Rushes didn't actually work as well as you'd think. And on top of that, neither player even tried a Tower Rush in this one. I've got a feeling they tried it in their practice games and it didn't work as well as you'd think. Remember, you've got a 5 eco start. You don't actually have that much eco to flaunt at Tower Rushes. What's going up? Gully just going into the mass archers. I missed the right call here. And a new landmark on the way. It's going to be Natchia Castle, which may look a lot like a Seagate Castle. We have to recycle assets, right? Like, sorry, guys, but there are limitations to what mods can do. But this is interesting. The Natchia Castle, this is a trade landmark. So here's the options you have. The Natchia Castle, oh, sorry, defensive one, isn't it? Yes. So I was thinking the Ali Kapu, we'll talk about that in a sec. The Natchia Castle is a keep. But it has some interesting details here. It has some unique techs, and it can act as blacksmiths. But here's the other part. By constructing it, you lose the ability to get tier 3 eco landmarks. Eco upgrades, rather. So you're actually sacrificing a pretty big scaling point in the game to do this. The alternative is the trade landmark, the Ali Kapu, which has some interesting techs in there. It actually has the trade bags tech from the Ottomans, as well as the trickling gold that the French can get with the guilds. Gully, in the meantime, is going to be a little bit slower. I wonder, will he try to trade? I mean, this is a really good map for it, right? The trade post right off into the corner. He has great map control. Dragavan, you are seeing that correctly. We are getting what look to be Feudal Age Knights. These are intriguing. So you have the Dailami Mace Horseman. We need to talk about... We're going to have to go through this and get your spelling right, Hosen. So the Horsemen, in this case, are pretty much Ghazi. But these are heavily armored Ghazi. Look at their stats. 16 on the Mace, and then 8 on the Heavy. And they'll be upgraded. I think these units are going to be the most busted. Fast castle builds into Mass Dailami Savar are going to be strong. Clash comes in. That should be a clean up the archers. Might cost them on the knights. Another interesting detail. So these guys actually, like the 230 resources, they're a tiny bit cheaper. But you guys may have noticed something. Look at this UI. There's no veterancies. There's no elite attacks. That's because you do it here. You have to use your TC to get these techs. So if you get the Saafid Dynasty, all your units that are Feudal Age go up to veterancy. And then there's another Dynasty tech afterwards that will get all the remaining techs. So remember, although this is a Delhi variant, you don't get the passive techs. You have to pay for everything you get. Gully going pretty hard on the archers. Giving him a taste of his own medicine. That's really cool. Persian horse archers, pretty cool idea up against the knights that are coming out from Dragavan. Just kind of a shutout, right? Because this is where I was highlighting I think these are going to get nerfed on the movement speed. That's the same reason Magadai did. If you guys remember, a long time ago, French versus Mongols, French lost really easily against Mongols because all Mongol players had to do is if you scaled into knights, they would scale into Magadai. And the Magadai moved at the same speed as knights, so you could never gap close. So I have a feeling that that might be the thing that gets tweaked about Persian horse archers because I think the cost and stats aren't too bad. The movement speed is a little bit spooky. Natchia Castle coming on the other side as well. Let's check out the Natchia because we haven't even looked in it yet. There's some interesting text in here. So remember, acts as a blacksmith with a discount. A very big discount, actually. Look at that. So that's basically mine work levels. But look at these. Extra training, increased cavalry and men-at-arms attack speed. You can get steel armor. That's going to be insane. Increase the ranged armor of Zamindar and horse archers. Remember, the horse archers, we've seen them in action, the Persian ones. The Zamindars are they not the Cav ones? I'm getting used to... Yeah, sorry, they're normal archers. So this is basically the dragon scale armor. And then outside that, you can actually get your Saafid Dynasty from here instead in half the time. Armor clad... Okay, that's a bit insane. Powerful horses as well. Some of this is going to get dialed back. Rest assured. Hosen, this is like his first take on the balance. We needed some pros to play it out. This is already looking pretty fun. Archers are going to get chased away by the Zavars. Pocket Eco is being played. Gully Deckle is basically going to eclipse the economy at this rate. Dragavan, notice that he's stopped producing villages. This was my worry. The Rudon Castle is a bit of a bait because once you start having to invest in military, it's way too expensive to keep investing in villages consistently. He has got reserves of food now, though, so we'll see him double down there. And it looks like we are about to witness another new unit. Kizel Bashers getting added in. I'm excited for this unit because I checked a lot of them. I think this might have been the one that I didn't. Because I think there's a different unique unit in the conscription camp. That's something that comes in Age 4. Golly. Okay, apparently, like, wait, did he just... Okay, Golly didn't realize. Oh, that's unfortunate. So he's missing out on villager production. He's missing out on 6 villagers here because he accidentally decided to use the TC. This is pretty cool, though. Like, I haven't seen any other Civ having this. Kind of like an Age of Empires 2 Age Up attachment to the TC. Changes the dynamics quite a bit. Oh, that's unfortunate, though. Like, the Nachir Castle, a big value point in getting it is the fact that you don't have to idle the TC. I'm wondering, is Dragovan going to do the same? Because he hasn't even queued it up yet. This is going to be a big advantage. You may notice, like, you know, unless you go for the cast stage units, you're out-teched. Gully's going to get a lot more initial value out of this, but when Dragovan starts adding in things like spears, for example, that's where he could fall flat. Extra eco-tech's coming through, so we're getting ready for a farm transition here. Dragovan, I believe you have got some Dhaka boys to show me. Let's check out the gunners. Where are they? All right, we'll check them out in a sec. There's a little raid coming in. Gully, oh no, the overchop. He didn't realize. Gully will be able to pull away, though. I mean, who cares? These guys cost 25 food each, am I right? I think the guy who's idling his TC for 2 minutes cares. Big raid. Wow, Gully was completely out of position, was not ready for this whatsoever. So sexy raid coming in from Dragovan. And look at the ranged armor. This is that scale armor we talked about, right? He's got +3 ranged armor right now. That's insane. Wait, no, it's not even from that. Tosin, quick, give me explanation. Am I missing something here with the +3 tech? I must have missed the tech coming in. That's huge. Wow. Great raid coming in. Gully has been reduced down to 69. Nice, but not in a game where you're getting screwed this hard. And here we go. This is the Kizel Bash. So the Kizel Bash, yes, these are the ones I was thinking of. These are Streltsy with a different stat approach. So when you get these guys to Imperial Age, they have 50 base damage, but their attack speed is 3 seconds. So before you think it's OP, remember that detail. What is crazy is they get, I can't remember if it's 72 or 84 melee damage when they go to Age 4. So they're basically like Streltsy from a different approach. MMA, oh, the MA, okay, thank you for the clarity. So the MAA tech, the Men-at-Arms tech will affect the Knights, you're correct. Pass in the center, though. Gully has a lot of archers, which are just tickling right now. They'll at least be good against the Kizel Bash. Kizel Bash that have 5.5 range. Wait, no. Yeah, 4-tile range. These guys are 7-tile range. So great micro. Gully is just going to snipe them out. That's an expensive loss. Those guys are 300 resources each. Wow. I mean, eco lead aside, that doesn't feel great. And also, keep in mind, Gully Deckel's finally playing for relics. Unfortunately, Dragovan yoinked away 1 or 2 close to home, right? Actually, no, these are spawn points. So Gully pretty much getting everything he needs off the map, and now Sacred Sites are attainable. Because this is a funky spawn. Like, I'm double-checking this is definitely Dry Arabia. Oh, sorry, no. Mirror random. I'm an idiot. Mirror random what? All right, we won't talk about mirror random's issues here. In fairness, this map is balanced. I wouldn't call it a mirror random per se, because it doesn't perfectly flip. So it's a little bit weird. But I would say, actually, in fairness to it, the spawns are pretty balanced. I don't feel like anyone got an easy one here. Which is very important, considering we're opening this series with a mirror. Crossbows now getting added in by Dragovan. Nothing special about those. They're just standard comp units. But I think you saw the Men-at-Arms coming. This is cool. The Saafid Swordsman. I was talking about these guys before. Check what they do. So they do 10 damage, but then look at the bottom damage. Their charge is over 3 times higher. Now, I do think their attack speed is a little too low. They're probably going to have to get tweaked, especially considering this unit costs 120 resources. But the charge-in is a very unique mechanic for them to have. Well, ambitious. And look, guys, Berkshire got nerfed. Hey, Berkshire start of 2024 Berkshire now. The Rodkin only has 7 damage output per garrison unit. It's not going to hit hard here. Dive's going to hit hard in return, though. Gully Deckel going under. Looking for targets. Dragovan has played out of his base and away from the threat for now, but he needs to get more army together. This is a lot of archers with a lot of range. He's to dive through and find more targets, though. This is the big problem. He's reached the Nachia Castle, and this is indeed basically a white tower level defense. 8 tower range, 13 damage times 3. This is the thing that's going to get mopped up, and the surround comes in. Dragavan waits, he bides his time, and strikes when it matters most. The Savar will mop this up like it's nothing. 8 ranged armor, 7 melee armor. I warned it. I said this is going to be the busted unit. Everyone's like, oh, but what about the camels? What about like the cannons? What about the archers? Saafid Savars, man. This is the first thing that's getting nerfed. Watch this space. Mark my words. It's only 230 resources. Gully now has to reboom with spears and crossbows behind this. We're still missing the farm tax, so he doesn't care about getting gold from having food. Has he got the other tax? Okay, so interesting. He's queued up extra training. That's going to give him the attack speed increase on the men-at-arms. They're still going to be insanely slow, though. And speaking of that tech, I think it's more effective with Cav, guys. So I guess, like, to kind of highlight a balance point for everyone's like, these Lancers look OP. Remember, they have the Ghazi attack speed. They take 2 seconds to attack. That's their balance point. That's what stops them being ludicrous in this. What I've noticed, looking at the stats of these civs, by the way, the Persians are very much fixated on a lot of charge mechanics. So like the men-at-arms with the extra damage and the short attack speed. Same with the Lancers here, right? Like the Lance hits pretty hard, low attack speed, follow up with a Mace Wallop. So there's a lot of focus around charge mechanics here, which is pretty cool, because I don't think there's not many examples of that actually in the game if you think about it, right? We recently got a new one with the Camel Lancers from Ayyubid, but the other one was the French at release. Outside that, there aren't that many unique charge mechanics for melee. I guess there's Fire Lancers, but we always forget about that because no one cares. We don't build Fire Lancers to charge. We build Fire Lancers to burn. That is a lot of villages. So rush into the gold. Dragavan. He's going pricey here, right? Adding in more Kizel Bashes. The night count in this game. Reminder to people, this is not Delhi. These are both Persian. Right? I almost want to create a very scuffed looking little text thing saying that's Persia. Maybe I'll have to if people want to see more of this in the future. The outposts rush up. Remember, these are only 50 wood each. So if this looks expensive, it's actually not. He's only spending 200 wood on this. Well, 300 if you include the mining camps. Flash in the center though. Crossbows trying to hold it back. Spearman, men-at-arms going in. Line spreading out a bit. But it's looking like Dragavan's losing a lot more for this. He has to move away. Good hold by Gully. And a worrisome position to find yourself in if you're Dragavan right now. You've got the eco lead, but you need this gold. You need it bad. Push continues. Look at the range on these glorious mother duckers. The Zamindars from downtown to push the crossbow back. Pretty effective against the Kizel Bash as well. They have to stand still for a long time to get that attack speed increase. Last of the melee is going to start disappearing, but I think this is where the archers should win out for Gully Deckle. Has to move the Kizels in. This is so expensive. Kizel Bashes are 300 resources each. So if you don't kill 3 archers in return, it's a bad trade. This is a really rough trade for Dragavan. If it wasn't for the state of his eco, I'd say we're getting close to a conclusion. But that's the thing that should keep him alive here. Mango's now being prepped. Remember, though, these are Lombos with the movement speed of normal archers and the damage of normal archers. So they're a little bit better at dodging and weaving Mango shots, especially when you consider they've got 7 tower range. Dive coming in the meantime. Villagers with the ships out. Oh, no. Dragavan, not like this. You're not Don Hardy. Don't try to be. No one should try to be that. He's a unique beast. Dragavan, what are we talking about? Like a third of his economy on the screen right now. Gully behind this. I feel like his economy is getting to a better state, right? Like the food is still ahead for Dragavan. I'm not expecting that to last much longer, though. There is an ecotech issue coming in, right? Gully's only got level 1. And it looks like he is going for the gold. This is sick, actually, because right now, Dragavan has a very big issue. He needs to get onto gold, so he needs to plant to map. But between the relic split and the fact that Gully Deckle now has the ecotech coming in from his tier 2 landmark, he has a big edge here. Goodness Pur with farm tax allows you to just buy gold at a very desirable rate. Paying 200 food to get 150 gold is a damn good exchange. Keep drop now coming in from Gully. And yes, guys, those are villagers and spears. This is what I tested. This is so funny to watch. You can build a castle up with spearmen. You don't even need villagers here, but they're definitely going to help. Dragavan, all of a sudden that eco lead he had is gone. Gold is at risk getting auto out. Mango is going to have to move up, but that means it's going to die to just a handful of spears here. Repair comes in clutch. Castle most definitely going up, though, and the archers are going to dive past. Gully Deco on the verge of victory here. And Dragovan, not much to cry home about. You can see he was trying to get to Imperial. It seems Gully Deco's comp of archers worked a lot better. Is going to get punished now by the single mangonel. With the castle up, Dragovan is going to have significant gold issues in the coming minutes. He has still got some other golds to play for, but he hasn't set up defenses here. And I think he's exhausting this quickly, right? Yeah, 3.3k left over. The fat gold was of high priority for him. Not going to be able to secure it anymore. And Spearmen are the ones that can build. Spearmen are cheaper for the Persians, but they have worse stats. So these Spearmen at this stage, like you guys probably know your vet stats, right? Look at these guys. They're veteran spears with 8 damage base and 95 health. Veteran spears are usually, if I remember correctly, 110 health. And, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, it's either 9 or 10 damage. Actually, it might have been 11, right? It's quite different. I like the idea, though. It's really cool. They still have decent bonus damage, though, right? You can see they do 21. Getting towards that late game. I'm wondering, will they both just decide to go Imp? Because Imp's quite interesting here, guys. Check these landmarks. The Marag Observatory. Look at that. You can train units by only gold. You basically can build conscription camps and turn into the Thrumba garrison. And also, the vision on it, this is not an understatement. It's basically Imperial Palace. I think it was bigger than Imperial Palace when I tested it. Other side is the siege. Both choices revolve around the conscription camps where you just spend gold, but this one's siege focused and this one's military focused. I haven't had a chance to test the English mercenary ship, but I'm definitely intrigued by this. What a cool game. And this is only game 1, by the way. We're going to be doing 4 more games after this. The rest will not be mirror. Because I know you guys are fascinated at first, but you're quickly going to be like, oh god, not another mirror game. So we got you covered on that. Dragovan. Food levels should be stable. I feel like his food income has gone down there, right? He's playing pocket resources for a while. Long wall's going up. Golly, does he maybe consider trade? I mean, he's not going to run out of gold. Yeah, this... Actually, I said that this was balanced. That's maybe the broken part of the mirror random balance here. The fat gold vein in Golly's base, and then the one in front for Dragovan is a bit rough. Whose build do I like more at this stage? Because Dragon's just replicating now, right? It's interesting because Gully on a very big delay is going into these gunners. I think this is smart. Kizel Bash will lose to these archers, right? The Zamindars are basically like the Lombo versus Streltsy effect. But there are no Lombos coming from Dragovan. So I think Gully Deckel's timing is a lot stronger now. He's already got more men at arms, and this Kizel Bash will clear the front line. Crossbows aren't going to feel that good against the Kizel Bash, because once you get in range, these things should trade a lot better, right? It's 25 base damage compared to a mere 15. Military Academy also being queued up. Have we got any unique techs extra coming in? No powerful horses. I don't expect that to come through anymore. Pretty much everything is there, bar steel armor. I think steel armor could have been good in return for Dragovan earlier, but it doesn't really matter now, right? Like, he didn't want to lean into archers. He chose to go full crossbow comp. Dragovan had safe gold. Oh, wait, was it an 8k, though? I thought it was a 4k up here. Maybe I'm wrong. You're right. It might have been an 8k. Good eyes. Okay, it's just that's a weird spawn, then. 3 fat gold veins. But okay, golf clappers, actually. The mirror random is a bit weird for the wood lines, but you're right. I think everything else was mirrored. So good seed selection from Hosen. Gully. Diving in. Gun line doesn't look good for Dragovan. It looks a lot better here for Gully. Just needs to be careful about the position of the fight. Second wave is marching in. Mangoes are being queued up. The problem I'm seeing here is, like, one side's front line should be cleared a lot quicker. It's kind of deceptively close, right? Like, you do 24 damage every 2.12 seconds, but these gunners do less damage comparatively, right? Like, 3 seconds, 25 damage. So really, Gully Deckel, to out-micro here, what he needs to be doing is sniping the backline. Instead, though, he just hard plows it in. The Spearmen are proving to be quite damage absorbent here, right? Like, this is kind of smart. Remember, it's mass crossbows. Crossbows don't get bonus damage against spears, and although these spears are less tanky than the normal counterparts, they also cost notably less. Only 65 resources instead of 80. Mango's now arriving. I think Dragonman's lost this now. Like, the siege is the issue. He's got way too much in ranged and not enough in flank. And no anti-siege whatsoever. And behind that, Gully now getting ready for Imperial Age. And it is going to be what I was expecting. The Marag Observatory in the way. Do you guys want to see how busted this is? I'm hoping Dragovan won't tech out before it. It's broken. The vision on it is broken, you will see. Dragovan trying to hold his own. Please don't GG. They need to see how stupidly huge the range is on this. It's hilarious. Tom's getting out on the front side. Dragovan has to migrate the area. He's building up a second wave behind this defend. Gully just needs to not rush in. If he doesn't rush in, we will get to see the tech up. Imperial Palace 2.0, pretty much. Because you can scout. Look, you can spy. You can see the workers. This is Imperial Palace with an added flavor. Because you get a Farimba level of effect out of it. You can start building units by only paying gold. And remember, because he went for the eco-wing choice, he can basically buy food for gold. 200 food for 150 gold with a fixed rate. I think that might get tweaked, by the way. Here we go, guys. Eyes on this. Watch the vision on the minimap. Ready? Steady. Ooh! And yes, that is a ginormous stone wall tower. Dragovan in quite the pickle now. A whole age behind. I think we are close to the conclusion of our opening game in this show match to show off not only a new Civ, but in game 4 and 5, we'll be showing off a new map. Turn and burn from Dragovan, but he might take a hit on the retreat, and that's going to be a big one. He's queued the Dynasty. Remember, this is how you get your elite techs. You pay 2,000 resources. It's more expensive than elite tech, but it's all the elite techs. That means that, for example, over here, men-at-arms, as well as the spearmen, going to get upgraded. The crossbowmen, archers, the Kizel Bash, the horse archers, all of them are going to go to elite tech. That's why you pay so much. And I believe he did it correctly this time. Okay, he remembered. He used his TC last time, but if you build the Natchez Castle, you can do dynasties in the castle instead. And I think that's what's giving Dragovan hope, is that his opponent can't get the tech quick enough. Even if he couldn't, I don't think it matters right now. The military mass lead is just too big. The tough part is Dragon's now had to resort to men-at-arms in a situation where these archers are about to get juiced up. They already hit for 10 damage. You have got 7 armor, so it's not too bad. But once you get that extra upgrade, I believe they're going up to 12 damage total. That's when I'm expecting a pretty swift GG. There is nothing that Dragoman can do that isn't seen, by the way. Pretty much all the critical resources are in range of the observatory, bar the 2 golds on his side of the map. So any attempt to sneak play here, right, it just isn't going to work. Even if he didn't have the keep in the area. This thing's crazy. Dude, this is Age of Empires 4's, what was it, the Xiao Needle, I think it's called? Yeah, just go to the top and see everything. This isn't a UAV, this is a Blackbird, all right? Gully Deco ain't got the 3 kill streak. He's up to like, what was that? Is that the, I'm trying to remember, was that the 10? I think it's the 10 kill streak. Upgrade just came in. And yes, they do turn into Vikings. Look at those stats! They've got 11 melee armor. Oh my god, he's hitting for 1 damage with his melee units. No way. It's cursed. Throw in the towel. No one will blame you right now. This is brutal. It takes so long to get this upgrade, but the moment it comes in, the unit diverts that you tick up is insane. As long as you have 2 unit types, you're not paying more than you would for elite statuses usually. And you bought Dragovan, you can see he was trying to get to Castle from to Castle Imp here, but I just don't see it happening. It's going to be GG. Game number 1 of this show match goes to the German. Gully Deckel able to beat the Scandinavians in our nice little kindergarten show match. But more to come, guys. Stay tuned. Let me know what you think about this. It's not Delhi. This has been Persia. Shout out to Hosen who actually made this Civ. with very limited tools to create a tuning pack. We're going to have more coming on the channel, though. 2 more games on standard maps, and then 2 games, one side each using Persia on a brand new map.